Next is a critical reasoning question which talks about how island nations are contributing the least to climate change, but they are being affected the most. Now, questions says which of the following, if true, would support the common sentiment mentioned in the passage. Common sentiment is exactly this for island nations, that they are contributing less to climate change, but the effect on them is greater. It is also mentioned in the passage that the islands in the Pacific specifically are between United States and China, two of the most largest carbon emitting countries. Now, this also gives us an inference that carbon emission is somehow linked to climate change. Let's look at our options. Option A can be eliminated because it addresses only one part of the problem. It talks about that island nations suffer the most due to plastic harm, as the plastic harms the very aquatic life that the island nations are dependent on, but this does not talk about how much contribution are island nations making to this pollution. Option B is the correct answer. It addresses both sides of it. Option B states that carbon emissions are directly proportional to the size of population of a country, and the resulting increase in sea level poses greatest threat to low-lying island nations despite their relatively small populations. Now, this means that island nations have smaller populations. They are not emitting carbon as much as other nations are, but the effect on them is the greatest. So this represents the sentiment which was originally given in the question. Option B forms the correct answer. Option C says island nations have banded together in the international arena. Essentially talks about what island nations are doing in order to curtail the devastating impacts of climate change. This does not addresses the sentiment given in the argument. Option D says that island nations are more vulnerable. Again, it talks about that they are more vulnerable because of the internal problems, or something that the passage again has not mentioned.